Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video, let's compare the two amazing iPhones from Apple, the brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max versus last year's iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'll talk about four categories here: design, performance and battery life, camera, and extras. I will leave timestamps down below as well. Starting off with design, so we do have a complete change here, guys. We have titanium frame instead of stainless steel from the 14. And the result of this is that a phone which is lighter by 19 grams. Now, 19 grams feels less significant on paper, but trust me guys, when you use it, you'll certainly notice the difference. And if you're like me, who use your phone a lot, for instance, even writing the script of the entire video or checking social media or even on the loo, in all those instances, I always felt that the 14 Pro Max was a bit heavy, especially when you keep holding it for extended periods of time. And in each of these instances, this 19 grams less weight really shines. We also have nice curved edges on the 15 Pro Max compared to the sharp edges on the 14, and that makes the phone really comfy in your hands when you grip it. Also, the back glass on the 15 Pro Max has got nice matte texture instead of the smooth finish from the 14 Pro Max, adding to that extra grip which it offers. The overall dimensions have also changed on the new iPhone, so this new phone is now slightly less wider and less taller in height, but it is a bit thicker. So of course, the older iPhone cases will not fit and you need to buy the right compatible cases. The shrinkage in size means that the black borders on the screen are tiny bit thinner as well. Again, on paper, it feels negligible, but in real life usage, you can certainly see the difference. Still talking about visual changes, we have a new customizable action button instead of the physical, satisfying mute switch on the old one. Does it make a huge difference? Well, it depends. I never use the mute switch on my iPhone, guys, as it's always on silent. So if you're like me, then having a customizable button instead of that mute switch is certainly going to be helpful. I've mapped it to the camera, but the possibilities here are endless, as the settings for this action button allows you to map it to shortcuts and even plethora of accessibility settings. Also, design changes include the USB-C port for the first time on an iPhone. Let's talk more about this in the extra section later in this video. Moving on to performance. So on the 15 Pro Max, we have the world's first 3nm architecture-based A17 Pro chip, which really is amazing, but the performance difference which you will see is about 15 to 20%. I thought the difference would be more significant, and it kind of shows how awesome the previous A16 Bionic chip is, which is inside the 14 Pro Max. And the same chip is in this year's non-Pro iPhone 15s as well. So a really decent upgrade there, even on those non-Pro iPhones. But what is more substantially noticeable on the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the RAM. So now we have MacBook levels of RAM at 8GB in the iPhone. I mentioned about this in my initial impressions video, guys, and said that we should have years of software support due to this. And someone commented saying, how would that equate to years of software and security updates? Well, guess he must be from the Android world, as guys, if you're familiar with iOS, then devices with more RAM always enjoys extra years of support. I mean, take the iPad Air 2 for instance. It was the first time on this iPad where 2 gigs of RAM was introduced, and this device was launched in 2014 and it still receives security updates even today. That's like a whole decade after the product's launch. So yes, RAM does play a huge role in software updates, and having 8 gigs on the Pros is really incredible, and this phone is going to really last you for a long time. More on performance, day-to-day tasks just zip through on both these iPhones. There really is no noticeable difference, and even when exporting 4K video projects on LumaFusion, I did not find that big of a difference, guys. However, this new silicon paired with that extra RAM on the 15 Pro Max will allow you to run console-grade games. So games like Resident Evil and Assassin's Creed are coming over to the iPhone. We need to watch the space and see how that will be. But having the ability to run PlayStation 4 games on a smartphone is really incredible. Coming to battery life, on paper, the iPhone 15 Pro Max gets slightly bigger battery, which is fine. And if you've followed the iPhone 14 Pro Max since last year, then the battery life was barely okay on that one. It was certainly worse than the 13 Pro Max, the model which it replaced. Currently, the battery on the 15 Pro Max seems to be slightly better on par with the excellent 13 Pro Max model, which is really good. But at the moment, I'm not seeing a huge difference, guys, with software updates and all. It is here and there. So guess it needs a little more time for the software updates to settle down so we can measure the battery life more conclusively. Let's move on to the cameras. You do get few extras this time on the 15 Pro Max. First is the 3x focus adjustment on the main lens that basically gives you 3x zoom but with the same optical image zoom quality instead of digital. And the result, yes, you can get better close-ups. Then there is 5x optical zoom instead of 3x on last year's iPhone, thanks to the new folded zoom lens technology on the telephoto lens of the iPhone. Low light performance is also significantly better on the new iPhone. And then this second generation portrait mode on the new iPhones is really incredible, as the main lens now captures 24 million pixels pictures with depth information instead of 12 million pixels like how it did on the old one. So that allows you to take pictures normally and then turn it into portrait shots like this. This really is a game changer, guys. It works absolutely brilliantly on people and pets. And that really is an incredible feature to have. However, this feature is supported on the iPhone 15 as well, which has the same chip as the 14 Pro Max. But Apple, for some reason, just locked this feature onto the new iPhones, and the 14 Pro Max doesn't get that. Coming to video, ProRes now is supported at 4K 60 FPS, and you can record directly onto an external drive. It's really cool, and if you want to use that format for some reason. It also allows you to record in log and supports Academy color encoding system. If you don't know what those mean, then these features are really not for you. For me, I'll stick to 4K video recording, guys. Like all the shots which you see on my channel, they're mostly shot using an iPhone at 4K 30 FPS. Let's move on to the extras now. For me, right away, there is something which adds that value out of the box, and that is the additional base storage, which is 256 gigabytes instead of 128 gigabytes on the 14 Pro Max. And in the UK, I paid the same price as how much I paid for this 14 Pro Max last year with exactly half the amount of storage. So this really is a win for UK this time, guys. Coming to USB-C, it really is the progress in the right direction, especially if all your other accessories are USB-C as well. For me, it is the iPad, and mine is the iPad Pro model. It really is now so convenient just to carry one cable and charger for my iPhone, iPad, laptop, my backup Android phone. And if your setup is like this, then yes, USB-C is really a decent upgrade. And if you use your iPhone for content creation like I do, then the ease of data transfer is a huge advantage using that USB-C port. However, if your accessories and cables are all around the Lightning port, then the USB switch over probably is not going to help you as much. More on the extras, you have Wi-Fi 6E support this time, so you can certainly benefit if you have a Wi-Fi router which supports that. And then you also get thread networking technology, which will help in better connection with smart home devices. Also, there is this one feature which flew under the radar, and that is that the iPhone 15 Pro series this time supports Nav IC, which is good news for our Indian friends. Nav IC is alternate to GPS, which is developed by Indian Space Research Organization ISRO. So guys over India would certainly benefit with this feature. So that sums up the comparison between these two excellent iPhones. In conclusion, the iPhone 15 Pro Max does feature some decent upgrades, and in my opinion, the substantial ones include lighter phone, 8 gigs of RAM, double the base storage for the same price in UK, and the USB-C port along with second generation portrait mode. If you feel that these features play an important role in your smartphone experience, then yes, the 15 Pro Max is a worthy upgrade. Coming to the 14 Pro Max, do go for it, guys, if you're getting a decent discount, and more importantly, if you're fine sticking to that Lightning port for a couple more years. So that completes this comparison. What are your thoughts on this? Do comment down below and let me know. And whilst you're there, if you're enjoying my content, hit that like button, as it will be immensely helpful. And please do consider subscribing, guys, so I can keep making these videos for you. And as always, thanks a lot for staying with me until the end. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.